Welcome to Edulution 2.0. Edulution was originally created as an answer to the COVID-19 pandemic, when the world went remote and students lost their opportunity to be in the classroom. To help prevent students from falling behind, Edulution filled the gap for those who didn't have Wi-Fi or technology. Edulution has supported the community for over 2 years, filling the educational divide through equity and access, ensuring that all students have a fair chance to learn and succeed in life. Our host is Ms. Pia Rosa, a Bronx-born and raised educator with a heart for her community. Let's start the show.
Thank you for joining us today on Edulution. Remember, we are Bronx Strong.
Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to be talking about emotions. So I have a few friends here today that's going to help us understand what our emotions look like, what we're feeling inside, and what our face might show about this emotion. So here we have Joshua. Joshua is feeling peaceful today. You see, look at his body language. Look at his face. Can you show me what peaceful look like? Go ahead. Wow, look at that peaceful face. So when I want to feel peaceful, I get out my book and I read. Oh, my book says peace. And reading this book helps me feel very peaceful. Now, I want you to go and find something that makes you feel peaceful. You have 30 seconds. Ready, get set, go. Oh my goodness, look at all those wonderful things that make you feel peaceful, like Joshua here. Okay, boys and girls, we're going to move on to our next emotion. We have our friend here, Tabitha. Now, Tabitha is lively. Look at her. Look at her face. She's smiling, her arms up in the air, and she's jumping up and down. You know what makes me feel lively? I'm going to show you. So while I'm getting what makes me feel lively, let me see your lively face. You can smile, you can jump up and down, you can clap your hands, do whatever you feel like doing that makes you feel lively. Good job, boys and girls. I see all those wonderful, lively movements and emotions. Well, when I feel lively, I put my headphones in and I listen to my music. And it makes me feel so lively. So what I want you to do is, I want you to go now and find something that makes you feel lively. Ready? When you mark, get set, go. They are so wonderful. It makes you feel nice and alive inside. Good job, boys and girls. So let's see what another emotion that our friends are going to share with us today. This is Lucy. She's sad. Look at her face. She's crying. Her face is upside down. And sometimes we feel this way. And it's okay to feel sad. You know what makes me feel sad? So my nephew, he is away. He lives in a far, far place. So when I think about not seeing him as much as I want to, it makes me feel sad. Can I see your sad face? This is my sad face when I don't see Zaire. And it's okay to feel this way. So I want you to think about something that makes you feel sad. But when you go get something, I want you to go get something that when you are feeling sad, it can make you feel much better. Okay? So are you ready? Get set, go. Look at all those wonderful things you found that makes you feel good when you are feeling sad. Okay, so let's look at another word. You guys are doing so great with all of these words. Let's see what else we have. Joyful. Now, here's my good friend Rachel. Look at her big and beautiful smile. She is joyful. So, you know what makes me joyful? My family. Here's a picture of me, my twin sister, my brothers, and my nieces. When we're all together, especially like on the holidays, it makes me feel joyful. Let me see your joyful smile. You see mine? So I want you to go now. I want you to find something, bring it back. Something that makes you feel really joyful. Something that every time you hold it or you look at it, it makes you feel joyful inside. Ready? On your mark, get set, go. So, did you find something that make you feel joyful? Yes, you did. Look at all those wonderful things. And even if you didn't find nothing, you can smile and show people that you are joyful. Let me see that smile. Okay, so we're going to learn one more emotion today. But with this emotion, we're going to use our face to express what we feel inside. So, at times, we all feel this way. Now, here's Carlos. He is mad. Look at his face. When I'm mad, I squint up my eyes, and then I close them real tight. And I show people that I'm mad. Now, I want to see your face. Show me that mad face. And it's okay to feel that way. We feel mad at times. Wow. Look at all those mad faces. I love those expressions. Okay, boys and girls, let's go over the 5 emotions that we learned today. He was peaceful. She was lively. She was sad. She was joyful. And he was mad. Stay tuned for our next emotions video by Miss Moore. See you soon. Bye-bye.
Hello, everyone, and great to see you again. We have had the pleasure of working with an amazing school, Millennium Arts Academy. Shout out to all the teachers and staff at Millennium Arts Academy. Next, you will see some great interview pieces that students and teachers put together to shed light on real-life topics. Today, we are learning about mental health.
Hi, my name is Richie Figueroa. I'm calling from Millennium Art Academy.
My name is Sylvia Harris, and today we'll be discussing mental health.
So one thing that I think students need to know that it's okay not to be okay, right? So every day might bring along a different situation, and it's okay to have feelings of sadness, of happiness, kind of looking like a roller coaster, because we all go through ups and downs, and it really depends on how you manage it, how you deal with it, and how you receive the supports for what you're going through.
why do you think parents dismiss the concept of their child struggling with mental health?
Well, I don't necessarily think all families do, but I do feel like there are certain obstacles, right? Um, Parents sometimes compare themselves to their children, and say that, life was so bad for me. You have everything, so why are you depressed? Why are you anxious? You have everything that you need. They don't really understand mental health. I also think that culture can be a barrier. Some cultures don't believe in mental health. And the last thing I think is accessibility. A lot of New Yorkers don't have insurance or don't necessarily know how to access services.
Okay. A follow-up question: that for parents that you want to help their kids and stuff, what are some signs that you can see from a student that struggles with mental health?
Right. So here in a school, right? So we kind of see students every day, right? Every day, the whole year, some 3 years, 4 years as they graduate. So one of the things that we look for is a change in behavior. So it might be someone who is not participating as much in class, someone whose grades have gone down significantly, whose friend group might have decreased or increased. So we look for things like kind of like out of the norm from what we know. One thing that we also try and do as a guidance team, the school counselors and the social workers, is we try to check in with students, right? Sometimes you can look like you're fine, but when you ask, how are you doing, that might, like a student might elaborate more things happening in life that are not going well. So a lot of it is communication, is the relationship that we have with students, that we're able to kind of find out, if a student is not doing well and needs support.
And from a professional standpoint, do you believe that like mental health is a major problem in today's youth, or like has it gone down a little bit?
Good question. I think that due to COVID, I think the mental health issues have increased because students have been isolated for a very long time. They haven't been socializing, and now we're coming back into school and they're kind of trying to figure that out. But they've gone a lot of time kind of being alone, and I don't think that that's helpful for young people.
And going back to like the different resources that you have, what are some of the resources that they can have? Like, can they call a hotline? Can they come to you as well?
Mm-hmm. Right. So within a school, mostly every school in New York City has a social worker on staff. So they can come to a social worker. They can come to a school counselor as well, or any adult, because all adults know kind of how to guide a student to the right person. Sometimes here at the school level, we cannot service the student as they should, right? So maybe what they're going through is just like it needs more, like maybe needs a doctor to be part of it or a psychiatrist. So then what we do is we make referrals. So we make referrals to outside agencies within the community. We also provide students with, as you said, hotlines, especially when we're going on break. We provide hotlines, suicide hotlines, just crisis hotlines, someone to talk to where it's anonymous and confidential.
Okay. And as like an individual student, and you see your classmate or maybe a friend as well having mental health problems, but should they go up to the guidance counselor themselves? And if so, what if they're afraid to do that?
Right. So it depends on the relationship that the two students have, right? Ideally, if the student was able to talk to the student in crisis and say, listen, like I think you need some support, you can go here, or think you need some support, I'll come with you. But I think regardless, staff should be made aware, because sometimes these things can be very serious, especially if someone is depressed. Maybe they're saying that they want to hurt themselves. I don't think a student-to-student conversation is enough. I think you need to bring a professional into the conversation.
What causes these mental health problems? Is it just family or students, or is it overall more things.
Right. Okay. Thank you. So I think also like situational, right? So a lot of times if you don't know how to manage a relationship, again, like I said, if there's a death in the family, like those are things that can absolutely like affect students.
Hmm.
So I think like ways for like any student or any adult, young adult, is these hotlines. So something that's special about these hotlines is that you don't have to leave your name. You don't have to give them your address. You're talking to a trained counselor, and they will talk you through the situation. So you can call with any type of scenario, and they will kind of like help you create a plan, right? So that's really big. Making sure that you have a plan. So if someone came to me and said that I'm feeling depressed, but it's not to a level where they need to be hospitalized or reach out, we will create a plan, and that plan might look like, okay, so I'm going to see you tomorrow, I'm going to see you the following day, and then we'll work on figuring out different coping mechanisms, right? Because sometimes, you can work it through within the school system. If it does become something more serious, then yes, it's something that we would refer out to. I think one of the things that I wanted to add also is that sometimes it's hard for students to identify what their feelings are. And then you might find some students who start maybe experimenting with drugs, right? So with drugs, it can mask what they're feeling, but in the long run, it's not really dealing with what the issue is. It's just kind of like masking it for now. So sometimes we have to decipher, are they self-medicating, or is it something that teens do? They, experiment. So those are like conversations. I mean, I think that's how we receive most of our information, is through conversation.
What does mental health mean to you?
Mental health for me is how people, deal with themselves, as people, as humans, how they go about their days with struggling with mental illness or struggling with people who have mental illness, how they communicate with each other, and how they take care of themselves, and if they take care of themselves.
Mental health can be applicable to a lot of different terms and a lot of different way people process that term. And I think that it's very general, it's very broad, and it's used to give people leeway into discovering themselves and learning more about themselves.
Do you believe there's stigma around mental health?
Yes, I do believe that there is a stigma. Oh, wait, no. I do believe that there is a stigma around mental health.
And why is that?
Obviously, I think it's, this day and age, and just like right now, it's kind of like the new people are finally starting to realize what it means to be mentally ill, or just have like to deal with mental health in general. So, and with a bunch of information coming out there, people are misinterpreting it in different ways, especially because, with how people were raised, mental health has always been taught as a curse, has been treated like a curse. And when people are exposed to a lot of symptoms of mental health, like BPD or autism, and like seeing like the things that it can do to a person, they start reacting as if it's were a curse. It's kind of, and it also goes into like the sexualization of mental illness, and how, a lot of people could get groomed because of it, because when people think of mental illness, they think of vulnerability. And this puts a lot of people at risk of, getting manipulated or taken advantage of, because mental illness is such an exposed thing.
And I'd also like to go on to say that there's a lot of romanticization when it comes to the topic of mental illness. People tend to take traits of certain traits of mental illness and apply it to themselves, and a lot of it is also, again, mischaracterized, and a lot of it is misinterpreted and seen to be, it's very, very very mixed and jumbled up, because not everybody has a full grasp on what certain mental illnesses are and take only traits that they want to take from that mental illness.
And adding on to that, because like mental illness can be romanticized and villainized, it kind of leaves people with either supporting or like encouraging the behavior of other people with mental illness that could, potentially hurt other people, or dismissing other people's feelings when it comes to mental health or just like dealing with mental illness as a whole.
Are you guys aware of the resources that are provided in the school for mental health?
This is actually the first time I've, realized that there were resources when it came to mental health. For me, being like mentally ill myself and coping with that through schools, I've never really seen resources being like shoved in my face when it came to like mental health. Maybe the occasional like don't kill yourself thing, but I've never really seen schools promote outlets or resources for mental health.
I wholeheartedly agree with that statement, and I'd just like to say that mental health, when it comes to school, I've had very bad experiences with it, which is why I know this is probably a commonly shared experience where people don't want to reach out to school resources because it doesn't feel like there's a space that's allowing kids to talk about how they feel and letting them have that safe space, because the automatic thing that when it comes to talking about mental health, what it goes to is let's send them into a mental institution. And while I understand the concern, it's very difficult for kids to be able to express themselves, even if there's presumed outlets that the school is giving them. It's very difficult for people to actually be able to express themselves and their wants and their needs.
And I think this also has to do with like environments that schools might possibly create when it comes to mental illness. I've seen multiple students deal with mental illness in the school and have them like be humiliated, bullied relentlessly. And when they reached out to the school, it wasn't the response they were hoping for. And that kind of like, it made them go downhill. It was so bad.
And when it comes to reaching out to staff members or like other people in the school that are supposedly like at the top of the chain supposed to help you, people don't really see it as an outlet to help you, because these people might not be what we consider a safe space to talk about our issues to.
And I've also think this could also deal with the fact that a lot of people kind of, when it comes to mental illness, they rely on other people. Like it's like a group force. Mm-hmm. I tell you this, you tell me that. So when it comes to going to a school, like me personally, I would never want to go to a school official and be like, I'm feeling like shit, I don't want to come here anymore, because the risk of going to a mental hospital and then coming back and realizing that all my work flown past me and I can't use it as an excuse, it just sucks.
What resources are you aware of that are provided by the school for mental health?
From what I know, the only thing I've really thought of being an outlet for mental health is probably guidance counselors. Because other than that, I don't know anything else that they've really said to us that are provided specifically for mental health. Only been given, you have a guidance counselor. Go to a guidance counselor if you ever have an issue. Go to a counselor in general. That's all I really know.
I agree with Seb, and kind of just that. I've never been really exposed to mental health resources within the building, or just like in schools in general, like throughout my life, in like school, but like even then, like even with like, go to your counselor, go to your school official. Even then, it just feels wrong. Because yeah, we could go to school officials, but what is the reaction we're gonna get? I can't go to a school official and tell them how I'm feeling and the way it makes me feel every day, and not expect a reaction of being sent to a hospital. I don't want to go through that. I don't want to go to someone, open my heart, and then have to be like sent away somewhere and then come back and everything's kind of reset.
And as someone who has personally gone through this and has been told, hey, go to your guidance counselor and tell them how you feel. I've told the guidance counselor how I feel. I've told them, but I was just sent away. Called an ambulance and I was sent straight to a hospital. And nobody wants to go through that. It's very traumatic, especially for a kid. I was in the 7th grade.
And I mean, I've seen like so many of my friends like go through, and I've seen so many of my friends like go through guidance counselors, go through every resource possible, and still get shut down and sent away. And the way that it came out even worse. Some of my friends had to transfer due to like, not being allowed to exist as themselves, anywhere, and not having that resource, even not just in the school but outside of it.
Even despite having a supposed resource, those resources, it doesn't feel like it's there to help you. It's there to, hey, you have a mental illness. Now what you're gonna do is you're gonna be sent away and you're gonna go through this whole process, and that's supposedly there to help you. That's why so many kids, instead of going to like school professionals or like just professionals in general, they tend to rely on people like their friends. That's why I think it's very hard to, go and actively not only seek out a resource, but go and act on that resource that you've been supposedly given.
And even then, like, confidentiality is like a legal thing when it comes to like, discussing your feelings with, guidance counselors, therapists, psychiatric. But if one false word, one false phrase, something slips up out of your mouth, you open up and that goes straight to your parents. And that's where things get awful. Because, oh my God, it's so embarrassing and awkward to have a guidance counselor who I thought was supposed to keep my secrets tell my mom that I wanted to do this, I wanted to do that, I felt this way, I felt that way. And having her know and having to like sit through that silence.
Thank you for joining us today. From my heart to yours. Have a wonderful day. See you next time, friends.
The Bronx Edulution. We are Bronx Strong.